Hello, everybody. Mr. Spec says we're live. I can never tell.
Um, for the beginning, Dan E-Boy was here.
Yes, he was.
Fort Rules was here.
And he says NASCAR starts at 2 p.m., so he may be watching NASCAR.
Okay, Mark Sauvé.
Mark Sauvé, he'll be here in about a half hour, he says.
Topaz Braden.
Hello, Braden.
And Paco Alpha.
Paco Alpha. No, not and. There's one more.
Oh, let me mute my. Hold on.
There's two more.
My phone.
Buenas tardes, Paco.
Buddy Garofano.
Hello, buddy.
And also Lester Lesaver.
Did you straighten everything out when you went to your brother's house? Hope everything's okay with you. Hello, Lester. You want to start the...
Yes. Give me a second.
Start the slideshow. I just sent the pictures of this Ram Charger to a client, and we're going to work on the deal on this one because it's a manual, but it's in pretty bad condition, and that's basically what he wants. Hello, Mike.
Mike Ennis here, and also Chris.
Chris, you still got a bunch of snow up there? It's got good tires, though. That's good.
See, now Joy comes down because I'm not giving him the attention.
Good. Hello, Dan. You're back. Keep your tail away from my chocolate cake. Yes.
Aww.
I don't think we've ever seen a blue Ram Charger, have we?
My fingers.
Haven't seen a blue Ram Charger, have we?
Blue one? I don't think so.
This is dark blue. I'm gonna have to ask what color it was when it was built. I have a lot of questions about this. But after last week's live and the video that I posted, I have two customers on the really nice black manual Ram Charger. But the guy I've talked to him many times. Now I have the way to deliver the truck to him. But now this one he's interested in because it's much cheaper, but it needs a complete dash. It needs the driver's seat fixed. I have to find out about how many kilometers are on it and the whole thing about it. See if he'll go for that. But I have another guy in Pennsylvania that wants the black one. We were talking right now, like 2 minutes ago, about it. And this one too. I got to get more information on this one.
Chris says it snows overnight and melts during the day.
Oh, okay. So it's not staying really cold during the day then. That's good. We're getting about a 25 to 30 degree swing between daytime and nighttime. It's about 90, 95 in the day and then 65 at night. So it feels like a chill in the air to us.
Thank you, Mike. He found out there was food.
Yeah, Dan, the price is actually for what this guy wants for this and the price of the other one. I'm not sure I would go for this one because there's only like 45,000 peso difference, 50,000 pesos difference between the one that's like almost new and this one. I mean, the paint may come back on this with a cut and buff, but I don't really know. I can't tell from the pictures. But as long as it runs and drives well and we can drive it because it's in Mexico City, we can just drive it 400 kilometers to the port and ship it off. It's going to cost us a little bit extra because the ship's actually there today for this month. So I told my representative of the shipping company, so we're just a little bit late for this one, right? She says, yeah, just a little bit late. So April 22nd is the next vessel that's coming in, and we need to get some cars down there to get them on April 22nd, and then they should be delivered to Florida by April 30th.
Mike says, anything new on your East Coast U.S. exporting plans?
Well, that's what we're doing. I don't know if you know this, but last month we sent a 99 Ram Charger to a client. It landed like 10 days later in Florida. He picked it up 3 or 4 days ago,
yeah,
and immediately drove it home to Ohio. And he's getting his license plates and title right now. He said it was a very simple situation. He goes to the border. He had to pay something to get into the border. I don't know what that was. And he got in the truck and drove it right out with the documents he had from the customs agent and from us. So everything was smooth. Smooth. Yes. Everything was smooth, and he liked the way everything went. So he says he wants another one, but we'll see, because he said there were a couple of things that I didn't tell him about on this one, and that could be anything from the stain on the carpet in the back to a sticky steering wheel.
Yeah.
But I don't know, because mechanically it was fine.
Mike N really likes that red Dodge.
Yeah, there's not too many of those around in that condition. But I'd rather see it. I'd rather I'd rather see those trucks with stock wheels and hubcaps and stuff, because who knows, somebody could have put a different chassis under it or something. I don't like anything like that. And yeah, we were talking about this a couple of days ago. Whoever owns this 68 Chevy chromed the rear fender extensions. Why? I don't know. And it looks like they don't even fit on the back of the car. The trunk is way out.
It looks funky. That's a 1968.
Yep. Is that a 68 dash? Because it looks like a 67 dash to me. The 67 had the big round. Maybe it had two big round ones instead of three.
And they say, boo, sunroof.
Somebody cut into the roof. Yeah, I got a good body shop here that can make that go away and do it right. But yeah, cars like this, they ask a lot of money for, so I only put it on here to, for you guys to see it. But I don't think it would be, you could probably find one in the US much cheaper. And of course, it's Mexico, so it's an inline six. And it's got power brakes and power steering. That's rare.
No,
What?
he wants more.
Go get your own food.
No, you're gonna have chocolate.
Stop begging.
8. You're gonna have chocolate.
Everybody's eating except for you. Oh, poor little kitty.
I gave him ham.
Yeah, now he wants more. You don't give him anything until you're done. Then you can show him an empty plate. You guys should notice this is a 1969 Mexican Spec Beetle. Notice the 67 parts that are still on it. That's how it came from the factory here. So the 69 here looks much older with the chrome bumpers and everything.
Mike Ann says, my friend's dad used to have an Impala like that. We used to sneak it out on the weekends.
Who didn't? My neighbor, when I was a kid, he was a very old Japanese man, and he bought a 67 Impala SS fastback, two-door fastback new, and he had it was red. He had it all of his life, the whole time I lived there, from 73 on. And the paint kept fading, but the car was in really, really nice condition. V8 automatic, all of that. Very small man. I don't know how he saw over the steering wheel, but yeah, that was his daily driver. Always parked on the side of the block. He was in the corner house.
Chris says, does it have a V6 or a
No,
6 volt or 12 volt electrical system?
It would have to be 12-volt electrical. It would have to be in 69. I'm pretty sure. But no, if you drove this in the US, nobody would know it's a 69. Unless you put a license plate frame or something on it.
Pretty good bread.
Yeah, that's good. Actually, let me rephrase that. Nobody would believe this is a 1969 model. Got the 67 headlights, the 67 taillights, the rear, the light where the license plate lamp goes, it's got the small one. I don't think so, Mike. The ones that were sold in the US came from Germany.
You have to read the message.
Weren't the US spec vehicles also hecho in Mexico? They wrote no. The Mexico was a closed, the borders were closed. Everything that was made in Mexico was sold in Mexico, and nothing came in.
Chris says, US Beetles were built in Germany, them, I think. Dean Stevenson is here?
Really?
Yes, and they say like Paco has arrived into the building. Represented. He will represent it.
Hello, Dean. Hey, Dean, what were the names you were talking about last night that are importing cars into New Zealand? Was it Thomas something? Before we get to the interior pictures in the 69 Belvedere, it is real leather. They did the whole interior in real leather, front and back bench seats. That's real leather, not vinyl. So I would love to drive this car. So comfortable. Those seats look so comfortable in leather. I don't think that M in this middle of the steering wheel belongs though.
No, I told you all my food. You don't got anything.
And they're showing it. They put a new clutch in it. That's what that is. Well, that's too bad, little cat. She ate all the food. She's not courteous like I am.
I gave him ham.
Yeah, well, he's not gonna. That doesn't matter if you don't give him anything, at the end.
You're so rude.
Front and back leather seats, and both of them have fold down armrests. This is like a limousine, but with a 225/6 under the hood. Mark Mitchell and Robbie Stevens. Now, this guy's name was Thomas. If I can find the Facebook thing, I'll send you an email and show you who's doing it.
Hmm? No.
She's done.
No.
No more begging for food. Why are you rubbing on me for her food? I have no control.
You need a bath.
On bath. You know what a bath is.
For rules says reading a spec. What was that at the end comment?
At the end of what? I don't know, Ford. I just said it was a dilemma for you to be here or be watching NASCAR. I don't like the interior in this. Do it all white or all red.
It looks like candy.
But I don't like the way they did the red with the white inserts. It also looks like leather, the way the fabric is. It has waves in it like that.
Or it says reward.
I don't know.
Lester says when they redo an interior nicely, it's really good, referring to Belvedere.
Yeah, they did a really nice job on that, and it had to have cost a bit of money for real leather in there. I looked closely at the fabric, and it is leather, and in the back seat as well. So they never had fold down armrest in the back seats of these cars. They added that for comfort.
Dean says to Ford, it's quite a problem. Mexican Spec versus NASCAR.
Yep. Although watching us, your neck isn't gonna get hurt.
Chris says, I do like contrasting colors inserts in seats, but those look weird for some reason.
It's too much of a contrast. The bright red and then the bright white.
Ford says, how do you know that Mexican Spec? I'm doing both.
Because
TV and YouTube.
You left an earlier comment saying that NASCAR comes on at 2 o'clock. Or I can tell you I have cameras in your house.
Yes. Yes.
You left an earlier comment saying that NASCAR comes on at 2 o'clock, so I said that's quite a dilemma. Obviously, the Suburban was imported because it's a four-wheel drive, which we did not have here. And I don't really think we had Suburbans. We had panel trucks in these years. But somebody did this one right.
I haven't taken my pills.
And they know it because they
Okay.
want a lot of money for this truck. It's something, Dan. Grabber orange. I think no. Looks more school bus to me. That was definitely a school bus, yellow.
Ford says you want to buy anything you saw at his house with the cameras?
No, not really. Oh, they took the stereo out and still want a lot of money for it. And I hate what they paint over the sticker on the door. They painted over it and then got some of the paint off. Are these staying on for 12 seconds?
Sí. ¿Por qué?
Oh no, it seems shorter.
Then check.
That dashboard brings back memories.
Want me to check?
No. Too late.
Modify it. Did you make him angry?
He puts his teeth on me, he gets consequences.
All right.
No.
Dan says, had painted column black. Ford says, maybe the fake. What is a 2000 Durango worth to trade? Two-door LTD.
I think a 2000 Durango is, they're going for like $3,000 or so or less. People don't want to put the gas in. I'm one of them.
Dean says, Lester, I'm singing Frank Zappa's 58-minute epic.
Zappa's.
Frank Zappa's 58-minute epic ladder. Mike N says, I saw that what initially thought was a black Mercedes Sprinter van. As I approached, I noticed it was Maybach badges on it. I got closer and noticed it had very ornate stitched white leather.
I don't understand people paying so much money for those.
Dan says, what's all over the windows?
On this?
Yeah.
Probably been sitting in the garage for a long, long time.
Glenn Nickerson is here.
Hello, Glenn. You don't see very many station wagons, and especially not a Coronet station wagon anywhere anymore, let alone sitting in Mexico. So I'm assuming the interior needs to be done because they have these blankets all over it. And a steering wheel needs to be found for it. But even just to have a Coronet station wagon is very, very rare.
Glenn says, the Mexican Spec Dragon wagon.
We can put a big engine in it.
Mike says, the driver popped out and I talked to him. He was the personal driver for Todd Graves, the founder CEO of Raising Cane's fast food machine.
Fast food franchise.
Oh, franchise, sorry. Mike
yeah,
says,
but I don't care if you have the money. What's the purpose of, I mean, does he not fly anywhere? He drives all over the country or something? That's the way I can see. It's not, well, maybe he had to spend the money, for tax purposes. Maybe that was the situation. I don't know. But I don't know. They're worth so little when they're used. Does it well. I guess he has depreciation he can take off his taxes.
Mike says money was not a problem. Dan says the windows of the Suburban, they look like it was raining hard.
I don't know. Maybe it was the way the pictures were taken.
Will the Trail is here?
Hello, Will.
I say good afternoon. Dan says the car in front of the Coronet.
I don't really see Le Cars, Dan, so I didn't notice the Le Car was there. I have Le Car blindness.
Ford says, do you like those? Has a 5.9/360 cues engine, runs smooth as silk, Durango.
That's the Durango I have, and I doubt it runs smooth as silk because none of them do. When I bought my truck with 45,000 kilometers on it in November of 2001, and it never ran smooth as silk. There was always just a tiny little bit of a rocking to the engine. If it runs that well, you got one in a million. But yeah, that's do a test drive on it, and you'll see how much power they have. Yes, Will, that's a nice Coronet station wagon. Very hard to find, and it's been sitting in Mexico for who knows how many years.
Dean says, "Lol, Lester, I say something mad, which is not uncommon, and then other sane people say, okay, or radio then. Your responses are perfect." Mike says, "It was just driving around here luckily. His net worth is 22 billion. Why not buy one?"
Well, I'm like I said, it's probably registered to the corporation, and all of the depreciation is tax deductible. So he's not losing anything, or the corporation's not losing anything, because he has his 22 billion because he does not lose money.
Will says, "That's a nice little Datsun, Japanese friend."
Mm-hmm.
Ford says, "Put iridium plugs in."
I did. That doesn't help.
Dan says, "Pimp. Where?" The first thing you tell me not to. I'm keeping up with the messages. I'm keeping up with the messages. Ford says, "How much is the Lincoln?"
What Lincoln? The one on the screen? The 72 LTD? Sorry, 72 Galaxy 500? I don't know. I'd have to check the price on that. But you'll notice it has the floor shift, but it has no air conditioning. It's the luxury car for Mexico. There's no AC vents in the dash right there. No air conditioning in this car. Bucket seats, floor shift, continental hump, cornering lights, which I have an extra one out in the backyard.
That's something that
No air conditioning.
That's something that I think new cars should be bringing back, cornering lights.
Well, they don't really need them because the headlights now move. Yeah, Buff and I were talking about the same thing on the phone call. How nice it was to have the fender mounted turn signals and the cornering lights. We were talking about the Ford Crown Victoria, that the cornering light comes on even when you have the headlights off in the daytime. So even in the daytime, people know that your signal is on from the side and you're moving over.
Will says, "I love that Ford Galaxy."
And Ford says, what engine? It has a 351 Windsor. All of them had a 351 Windsor here, but no smog and no lower compression.
Dan says, "It was the same park reverse neutral drive second first display which my old 68 Cougar had."
Yeah, they're basically the same transmission, the C6. This one, on the other hand, Dan, has 3 on the tree. So you have to shift it yourself.
I'm surprised I knew what that was.
We have it in the backyard.
No, the park reverse neutral.
Oh. Well, if it's PRNDL, we just call it Prindle.
Ford says, "Our Lincoln has only 460.
Yeah, but this one's not a Lincoln. This is a Ford Galaxy. And we don't have big blocks in Mexico.
Dean says, "Windsor."
Yep, Windsor. No Cleveland.
Ford says, "W is better."
351W. It was a strong engine. I had one in a 73 country sedan, just like the one you're looking at here, except mine was an automatic and white. And yeah, it was a very strong engine. But I had almost no miles on my car, no kilometers on the car. It was a very well taken care of original car. I sold it too cheap though. Way cheap. Something you'll notice that's not in these wagons, seat belts. There's no seat belts. They would have to be installed. They're not even underneath the seats. They're just not there. That was not an option. That was not something that Mexico thought of when they made these cars. My 74 Dart didn't come with seat belts.
Do I have all messages? No, I don't.
Brown one? There was no brown one. There was a dark red Galaxy. What?
I missing saying air conditioning stuff for wimps. Sorry,
Where did
guys.
you say
I
that?
had it on top messages. I think I have it on top messages.
Yeah, it's on top chat.
It's on top chat. Hold on. Let me fix that. There you go. Sorry, guys. We don't even know if Straight Bullet came in.
Ford that was not a Lincoln on here. That was a Ford Galaxy that they added Lincoln parts to make it an upscale car. There was no Lincolns in Mexico. I don't know if it really worked, but again, it's our luxury car, but there's no air conditioning in the car, so you can sweat through your fine clothes.
Your ears are dirty. You're in the back.
You're such a baby, Joey.
Espérate, te vas a caer.
You're such a baby. Baby cat.
Ford says oval window equals Lincoln Mark 4.
Not here.
Dean says it was one of Ford's best engines. I'm not going to get into the Cleveland V8's Windsor versus 351M versus FE 352 versus Lima 370 versus 374 347 stroker versus 5.4 modular versus 6.2 hurricane arguments. Pomoko made it easy. It made it easy too.
Yeah, more easier than that comment to read, Dean.
Ford says okay. Dean says please no contest.
How do you think the dart looks in this baby blue?
Nice.
Looks nice and innocent, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Same year as ours. Well, no, it's a 73, I think, because it has the 73 bumper tail lights. Yeah, it doesn't have the 74 tail lights. Boy. They changed the whole rear end on the cars in 74. Got a newer license plate, though, so somebody paid some money for the plates.
Dean says it's best if it remains on red.
Now you tell her.
Glenn says the jump seats have zero leg room. When I was a kid, my brother and I would have cake fights in seats like that.
In what car, Glenn?
Dean
What
says
truck?
on red, on red, on red. I thought you had a cup of coffee. Mm, no matter, I'm gonna have coffee later today.
No, I have gluten-free chocolate cake with chocolate chips on top.
Oh, I'll tell you.
He did not. Nope. But he says cars behind gate. Nice. Well, a lot of people buy a house that says garage, but it's completely wide open. There's no walls or doors. It's like a carport. And that's how they leave the car. So it still gets dirty. It still gets, the wind blows dirt into every little piece of it.
Glenn says that wagon you showed a few gags.
Oh, the yellow wagon, yeah, with the seats facing each other. I think if you put 4 kids back there, you're gonna have problems. But 2 kids, there's enough room because they sit on the seat but put their legs diagonally, and then the other one sits on that seat and puts their legs this way. Unless they're really small, and then there's room for their legs. Or you just take the seats out and use it for storage. Somebody asked me for one of these Mach 1s. Can't remember who. I doubt they'd want to pay the price that people ask for them here, though. I mean, the good thing is that most of them were manuals. There's a few automatics, but very few. And those may have been imported. Who wants to drive a manual Mach 1? Who wants to drive an automatic Mach 1? I mean, really. Grabber Blue looks okay on it, though. How many people we have
The
here?
back seat looks uncomfy.
Well, it's a back seat in name only.
12. Ford says, what model is that Mustang?
73.
No fins.
73. 73. I think it's a Mach 1, although it could be just a sports roof. And it has air conditioning. So that's rare in Mexico. But you're going to be into the high 20s, low 30s for a car like that here.
Chris says, I'll tell you who wants to drive an automatic. Mach 1. Communist. That's who.
I don't think they'd want to drive any Mach 1 unless it's given to them by the government.
Dean says 73 Mustangs 351 Windsor.
Mm-hmm. I think the coupes in Mexico are even more cool with the GT 351 package on them. It has a 351 under the hood. It has the Mach 1 hood. It has 4-speed manual transmission. It just looks cool with the Mach 1 hood on a coupe.
Buff del Campo is here, but walking around doing stuff.
Hello, Buff. That's okay. We'll be here. We're going to be live all day.
No! I have to go out. Dean says 2-barrel with AC, but it's rust free.
And has nice paint.
Ford says back window style. Here they have fins. I'll send pictures of one here.
The Mustangs have fins?
Ford Carafano says worth paying extra for rust-free car.
Yeah, can you tell the whole rest of the United States that so people will buy more cars from me? Because they'd rather buy a cheaper car, but they have to replace the floors and the quarter panels and everything else on it.
He might be all day.
No.
I'm gonna leave. KJ Kylie's here.
Hello, KJ Kylie.
And they say happy St. Patrick's Day.
That's the 17th, isn't it? Isn't that the 17th?
I don't know.
It's March 17th, KJ Kylie.
Ford says back window fins.
I don't know what back window fins are. Is that like back rolls?
Like the dart that has the.
I don't think so. Not on a sports roof Mustang. Let me get my phone in case he sends a picture. Oop. Okay, where are email?
It says be right back, send the picture. It says lots of parades this weekend too, though. Ford says email.
Oh, well, yeah, they're celebrating it this weekend, but it's not this weekend. They just don't want to drink during the week. Oh.
What?
He may be sending it to. Yeah, I know, but he may be sending it to the new one. Let me see if I can get the computer to go again. Hasn't come in yet. Yeah, he's sending it to Mexican Spec Real at Gmail, which I do not have on this phone. And I don't want on this phone. Because I can't do anything with those emails on this phone. I can't send pictures. I can't, all that stuff.
But from the fins are louver back windows.
Oh, is that what you're talking about? Louvers? Ford? You're talking about louvers?
Dean says St. Patrick's Day is celebrated annually on March 17th. In 2026, it falls on a Tuesday. Dean gets St. Patrick's Day first. I'm on holiday tomorrow, but back at work when it's St. Patrick's Day.
Well, that's not something that we need to celebrate here.
We don't have.
I mean, McDonald's doesn't even serve a green shake that day in Mexico. They don't have Shamrock Shakes here, do they?
We don't celebrate it.
Right, exactly. Mexicans don't need St. Patrick's Day as an excuse to drink beer. They just drink beer.
We don't celebrate it. We don't. How do you say it?
You did say it.
No, there's another word.
Not a thing here.
Jay's here.
Hello, Jay.
They say, Gigi Kylie says, I was in Dublin for St. Patty's a couple of years ago.
How wild was that, or do they not celebrate it? Like, Mexico doesn't celebrate Cinco de Mayo, but everybody else does.
Bob says, I think Ford calls
Louvers
louvers fins. Policar says, grabber maverick.
with cougar taillights. Somebody put on there.
Jay says, bunch of communists. Where?
All around us. Even more and more all the time. This is probably just a regular Maverick that they put a grabber hood on it.
And Dean says, KJ Kylie, as my Irish friend says, that they looks after Irishmen. What? And drunks and children. So if you're drunk, and Irish kid, you're way ahead. What? Pastor says, I like that Maverick.
It looks like it's a fun car to drive.
Am I talking loud enough to from the microphone? Glenn says,
Can you hear her well?
the toilet and gas cap screams Shelby. I need water.
No, it doesn't scream Shelby to me. It screams misplaced cougar taillights. Because they didn't inset them or anything. They just glued them onto the back of the car. They stick out way too far. Somebody's going to hit those, and that's going to be it for them.
Jay says, okay, Kylie, did you go to the Natural History Museum, Trinity College, or Guinness in Dublin? Chris says, I can hear her just fine. Thank you, Chris.
Okay.
And Jay says, we can hear Mrs. Spec 5x5. 5x5?
I don't know. Dean also said you're fine.
Okay, the voice is perfect. Oh, thank you.
When's the last time you saw a Datsun 710? Of course, it's not called that here, but they've got all kinds of nicknames for this car.
Bob says, I have my volume cranked way up so I can hear.
Okay. So I've got the microphone on my shoulder, and I'm sitting right next to her, so it's like halfway between both of us. So you should be able to hear both of us.
Kajikali says, yes, all of them plus the Jameson Distillery. He says, never saw a Datsun 710.
You're not that young, Jay. How did you not see them? Little bit difference in the turn signals in front. They're complete. They're amber in the U.S. and the taillights too. They're all red. But we have the amber turn signals, and with the white running lights and the amber turn signals in the back. People ask way more for these than they're worth. Oh, not many of them get sold. It's just an old Datsun. No side marker lights in case you didn't notice. That wasn't a thing in Mexico. There is one in front though, because it had a special shape and stuff.
Chris says, I'm older than you and don't recall seeing them either. Those things had to have rotted to nothing in like 3 years up here.
Well, then you would have seen them when you were a kid.
Jay says, that was a West Coast mini truck thing, I think.
Well, it's not a mini truck. Nobody did anything with these Datsuns. Everybody was playing with the trucks. Nobody, except for the 510s. Everybody lowered 510s and did everything with 510s. Nobody did anything with the rest of them because they don't have a cool style to it. On this car, it looks like they spent all the time on the outside because the inside is dirty. The seats are dirty. They need more than a vacuuming. They need to be wet. They need to be, I don't know, that machine that sucks the water out of it afterwards. Needs the whole interior to be completely done.
Dean says Datsun 710 alternative names are Violet, 140J, 160J, 160U, 180U, and a few Southeast Asian variants. Glenn Nicholson says to Jay, went to all of them when my wife and I went to Dublin years ago. Fun city. The best Guinness I've ever had was in Dublin. Jorge Campos says, I remember Datsun 510, 610, 710, and 810.
Mm-hmm. And of course, you had the 110, which was the little one, the 210, the B210, the 310, the 310GX, and the 810 is what turned into the Maxima. And one of them turned into the Stanza. I don't know which one it was. I think it was a 710.
Dean says, my workmate at Fulton Hogan had a silver 160J Violet SSS two-door.
The performance model, which didn't mean much.
Ford says, my email won't work at home if I have attachments, like when I try to send to Buff.
That's weird. You have it blocked or something?
Maybe the attachment is too large? Other Campo says, I had a 110 for a long time.
They weren't really known as 110s. They were known as there was a two-door hatchback and I think a four-door sedan, the little small one. But I don't think they were actually commercially known as the 110. Just when you open the hood, the 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 plaque under the hood or whatever it is, the metal thing under the hood that had the numbers, the VIN starts with 110. So that's what it was.
Jay says, I haven't seen or heard of the Stanza in decades.
You're not missing anything.
Mark
We call them Ultimas now.
Mark Sobey is home now.
Hello, Mark.
Dean says,
You're 15 minutes late though. You said you were going to be here in an hour when it was an hour and 15 minutes ago.
okay. Dean says, Glenn Nickerson is when you become trying drunk with embarrassing ease. Ford says, Wi-Fi, no Wi-Fi.
Oh, okay. Did you change your phone back to use Wi-Fi?
Yes. Yes.
We don't want to use data if we don't have to.
Chris says to Mark Sobe, good afternoon, Mr. Sobe. Jay says to Glenn, yes, I never liked Guinness until I poured a pint in St. James Gate. I was there in 2017. Mark says, oh, look, a duster with working backup lights. Low.
Hey, Mark, not only working backup lights, but this is an automatic duster that has a reverse light from the factory under the dash, which they only put on the manuals to tell you are in reverse. So somebody needs to explain to me how that happened. And the guy posted those two pictures of in reverse and then the reverse light on the dash to show that both of them work. And even he knows it's weird that it has it. I made it clear to him that it's weird that it has it.
Ford says, was it a 1.1 liter engine, the 110?
No, that was just a model line. Datsun used those designations in the U.S.
Mark says Mexican Spec. Had to bring stuff inside.
Oh, so that delayed you.
Dr. Go is here.
Hello, Dr. Go.
They say heading to mom's before the big blizzard hits her. Over 30 inch of snow predicted and winds around 50 miles per hour.
Wow.
Here we go.
Wow. I hope your mom's okay. Like nothing happens. Crazy.
Right. Mark says Mason Spec weird. Glenn says to Dean Stevenson, I was a proper tourist, not your typical American tourist. Even pulled over when they locals wanted to pass. Jay says, where are you, Dr. Go? You know you're laying on my clean clothes, right?
Do you care? No, he doesn't care.
Bob Campos says the 110 was known as a Datsun 1200 in the US.
Yeah, something like that. That's how it was known commercially, but it said 110 under the hood. Is there any market for dusters, speedometers in kilometers? I know you want one for your car, Buff. They're still not letting us send packages to the US. even though the tariffs were invalidated. So this is a whole weird thing that we're living through now.
Dan says, did they sell those cop wheels in Mexico?
Top wheels, those are the stock wheels that came on it.
Ford says, Mexican Spec, my friend had a Datsun truck with a really small four-cylinder, had room for only two people touching hips.
That must have been a really early one, like the 420 or the 520. The 620 had room for three people in there. Well, depending on the people, of course.
Jay says, the cats love clean laundry to Leon. Yeah, I made a mistake by pulling the clothes that I'm gonna wear, like right before I'm gonna put them on.
Well, you got to give the cat credit. He did move.
Thank you, Joey.
And not like I didn't pick him up and move him off. He moved himself. He didn't like our tone. You're okay. You're okay.
Dean says, I work as a land surveyor technician in Cromwell. I was at Dublin or the Tertian, Tertian fairgrounds in Munich. Each can have you doing the same thing with your tear ducts.
I'm sure somebody understands that.
Jay says, black shirts and a white or orange cat fur. Yeah, we have both.
We have white cat. We have the white cat and an orange cat. The gray cat never really comes in here. 77 El Camino, a car that was not sold in Mexico but had a Spanish name.
Dean says, then it became the 210, the Datsun Sunny here.
I don't know if it became a 210, but they brought out a 210, which was a different line completely, sharing nothing with the 110. It was a B210 in the US. The 210 came later. They dropped the B for set 1979. I know there's the 78 was a B210.
Ford says, Miss Beck, can you walk go to a link on a Wi-Fi phone? Sure.
No, because it'll take you away from the chat.
I have this everywhere.
But he would post the link here in the chat. How are you gonna get it over there on the
Typing? Typing?
You're gonna type the whole link? I had a GMC like that, but only two headlights. Yeah, that must have been the earlier one. 75, they had two headlights. They went to the stacked headlights in 76. They are not a popular model compared to the 68 to 72. But I guess people will buy any El Camino now because it's an El Camino. I never liked the how low the taillights were in the bumper for the El Caminos and for the station wagons. Never liked that. So should I keep putting the year, make, model, and what it is on the on the first picture so you guys know what you're looking at, or should we go back to you guessing what they are? I mean, that could be fun.
I only have 3%. Never mind.
Hmm?
I'm down to 3%.
Well, plug it in. Yeah, 1974 with a 454. That was a big engine, but it had no power in that year. Dean says, "Yippee, Fox."
Jay says, my dad had a 79 or 80 Malibu wagon with those low bumper lights.
Yeah, I like the taillights a bit higher at eye level. The Fairmont looks good in red, doesn't it?
Josh Holman is here.
Hello, Josh.
Also, Prack is here.
Hello, Prack.
And they say, I love your cars. She's from Phoenix, Arizona.
You're not that far away from us. We're 8 hours south of the border from where you are.
Pablo Campos says, I like the yellow tags in the first picture.
Good, then I'll keep doing them. I like the way they stand out too.
Dean says, not on lead yet. Ford says, total dog, 210 HP, lazy as hell.
Yeah, sure was, and used a lot of gas to get you nowhere.
Jay says, Prac, you're closer to Nogales border for delivery.
Yep. So which one do you want to buy, Prac? There's cars, trucks, and not a lot of vans. The 77 van, green and white van, long wheelbase van that I posted a while back, sold, so I have to take it off the list. Remove it. Somebody bought it. But you gotta love a bench seat and a manual transmission. You gotta love it. Great driving car, and a CD under the glove box.
A CD player?
Yeah. Driver can't touch it, but hey, you can look at it.
Prac wants them all.
Good. We can start with one. What do you like? The Fairmonts, the Mustangs, Malibus, Novas,
Ford says, be right back.
Ford carryalls.
Pablo Campos says, but those lazy 454 engines can really come alive with a little work.
They had torque, but they didn't have a lot of get up and go.
Dean says, I love the floor shift S-Rod.
It's only a 3-speed though, unfortunately.
Jay says, make him a package deal, Mexican Spec.
I can only drive one car at a time to the border though. I guess I can keep him there, and he's only going to be able to cross one car at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Now here's a special car, which was equivalent to the Nova SS in the US, except this has a much better engine. This is a 78 Malibu Rally, which is actually a Nova with a 350 and a 4-speed manual. And it does have power brakes, so that's good. No, it's over. You used to have it over this eye. Somebody redid the seats, of course, with really cheap material, but they'll work until they don't. Dean says, I love how the Foxes just shrink around you. They're the same width as a Mustang inside. And I drove Lester LeSaber's car, all the way from the middle of Mexico up to the border, and man, it makes you want a Fairmont. But I'd want a station wagon with a manual.
Jay says, ooh, that's sharp. Dean says, oh yeah, the 3.03 3-speed.
I would really want a wagon, or maybe a Fairmont Squire with the manual transmission in it. That would be the best car. And they're out there. There's quite a few of them out there. I mean, why not have all the trim on the side of the car that you have to wash every time with high pressure water to get the dirt out from behind it? Why not? The red really looks good on a Fox body though, on the Fairmont, and on the wagon with the wood grain on the side.
I didn't like my dream. I was having a nightmare.
Are you going to tell us all about it?
Not really. I was dreaming that I was being kidnapped.
That I don't like. They put the little thing on the trunk with a third brake light. Don't like that. Who was kidnapping you?
A random person.
Well, you have to remember the details.
I don't want to say this.
Well, then don't bring it up, because you're now everybody wants to know.
Dean says the advancement in sound suppression with the compact Foxes was significant over the Maverick and Granada.
Oh, that's for sure.
Pablo Campos says, I've had 2 Fairmont wagons, like them both.
But you've never had a Mexican 302 stick shift. That's the ultimate fun wagon.
Dean says, I like the X body Novas too.
I think the inline 6 would power this thing pretty well. The Mexican inline 6.
Jay says my Mitsubishi supercar has been parked outside in the snow for the last few days while I work on the Infinity convertible.
Mitsubishi supercar. supercar.
Stop it.
That would be a Mirage, and it's a supercar because you can't see it.
Stop it.
Right, Jay? It's a
You're
Mirage. It's not really there.
just being rude.
I'm not.
This is. Don't worry, Mrs. Spec. The kidnappers would bring you back. Rude. Dean said the 250 with the big one barrel was a great engine.
One of these Novas will run forever. It's the perfect car. Hardly ever have to do anything on it. Just keep driving it. The supercar. The miracle car. It's a miracle if you can see it because it's a Mirage. Maybe I should try to find a buyer for that black Bronco that's up the road a ways. I don't know how I would deliver it to the border though. Those look like slick tires, which means they need to be replaced.
Yeah, you tell him then. Jay says that back seat looks like a comfortable couch.
It probably is, but only for two people. It didn't look that wide. These 78, 79 Broncos are bringing big, big money. Big money. Probably a lot more than they bring here. But would we keep these wheels? Why don't you guys vote? Would you keep the wheels on this truck?
Can I make a
Or would you go for something else?
I don't think I can make
I don't know.
Dean says we cut you some slack since it's almost St. Patty's Day.
He's talking to Jay probably.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody like the Bronco that was before this? The little short one that rattles your teeth when you drive it? I guess I gave away my position on it, huh?
Glenn says lose the wheels.
Yeah, lose the wheels. In the early Bronco, you have the speedometer from the Ford Econoline. They didn't even come up with a speedometer for the Bronco. They just took it from the Econoline and shoved it in there.
Jay said it looks sharp. The wheels would pass, but could be changed.
They don't look as bad as the clown wheels on other vehicles, but I don't know. I think there's so many more, a lot better wheels out there, and the tires are completely worn. There's no tread left, and those are expensive.
Josh says in my mind something else, but those jacked up trucks don't interest me.
This one would be purchased for resale because you take it to the U.S., get a U.S. title, and probably make 30-40% on your money compared to what they want for it here. Because it is a U.S. truck. These were not sold here, so it would just be going back home. Somebody did a lot of work on it here. You can tell. You can also tell that the speedometer isn't metric. Look at what they're selling on Bring a Trailer. Something like this, no rust, nice inside and out, even with the wheels, because the new owner is going to put whatever he wants on it anyway. But that was a reason I never touched a radio in a car when I was selling cars. It didn't matter if it had one. It didn't matter if it didn't. The next person is going to put whatever stereo in they want. So I didn't waste any money, filling a hole in the dash for a stereo or whatever.
Ford says, make respect. These two in Bakersfield are coupe, not fastback Mustangs. Big difference in looks.
Oh, you're talking about the runners on the back window on the coupes. Yeah, I know what you're talking about on that because it has an inset window. Although mine was a convertible. My 72 Cougar was a convertible. So I didn't have a roof at all. Or a back window. Well, I had black back window, but it was plastic. There's one of these. I've showed you guys the pictures before up the road from us. It's black. It's got 4 shocks on each wheel. It's raised. It's got all these lights on it, and he wants a very reasonable price for it. I know somebody could double or triple their money in the US on that truck, but I don't know how to get it to the border because the wheels are, and tires are so big, they won't fit on a transport truck or on my trailer or anything else. So I think the only thing, and I wouldn't be able to do it, but put small wheels on it to get it up on the trailer, and then find a way to transport the big wheels.
King says I want a Mexican. Jay says we used to.
Radio. I want a Mexican radio.
Oh, there's a comma there. Jay says we used to have. Sorry. We used to have a saying about guys with jacked up trucks compensating when I worked at the Mac dealership. Nice truck. Sorry about your peep. Dan says pre OJ.
Yeah, this was way pre OJ. OJ was 93, I think. That other front end.
Dean says, isn't it cheaper to just enlarge your P? But does that work? I thought it doesn't work. Ford says, here those rims on the blue are considered gay.
On the blue truck, the chrome wheels. People aren't buying those there anymore. What are they putting on Broncos over there now?
Josh Roman says, we all know what he means.
Yep, we do. But it's not always the case. A guy can have both a raised truck and something else. Jay, the wheels and tires will not fit inside the Bronco. They're that big. The four wheels, they will not fit. And then when I get it to the border, and I guess he could cross it with the small wheels. I guess he could. But I can't imagine putting that Bronco on a trailer behind my Durango. Because good for him. Because it's way heavier than my Durango.
Jay says,
Out you go. Say thank you. Inconsiderate cat.
Jay says, get steely wheels and put the big tires inside. Ford says, too small for that height.
Too small.
Dean says, I didn't mean to be profane. It just happens. Thanks, Joshua. Dan says, ship the big wheels in a container.
We can't ship anything from here, Dan. We would probably cross it at the Arizona border, so that wouldn't be an option.
Jay says, drove a Jaguar. I pace on the 405 in Irvine, California with JLR. Dan says, nice K Blazer.
Well, I would think so too, if it wasn't a 1978 model.
If it weren't for the baby?
If they took the round headlight front end off it and they put the small square headlights on there, and I'd rather have the original front end on it.
Ford says, here there will be much taller tires.
Well, that's possible. I just don't like the wheels, really. The style of the wheels, the chrome.
Dean says, the iPlace still looks lovely, Jay.
So it looks like they had to replace the whole front end, the fenders, the whole front to get that front end on there.
Jay says, that's where the OJK started in Irvine, California.
No, it didn't. Started in Brentwood. That's where the killings happened. And then the chase was on the freeway to get back to Brentwood, so the chase was in the Los Angeles area. I'm very familiar with that case. Very familiar. Damn circus at the courthouse.
Dan says, I much prefer the pre-1980s front end on square bodies.
Me too, Dan. I like round eye. Round eye. Chevy square bodies. I'm not so much of a fan of the 1980 with the flush headlight and turn signal, which was the 1 year only, but not all 1980s had that. Then they went to the 81 single and dual headlight, square rectangular headlight. So That's when the downfall started. We got to 1989, where they put the small headlights on the front of the trucks here, the regular cab short beds, and that ran till 91. And I do like the way that front end looks on the regular cab short bed because the US never had it, so it looks odd to, it looks different to me because we never had that when I worked at the Chevy dealer. But I don't like that front end on the older trucks.
Ian says low speed SUV white Bronco fame. I want to live forever. Brentwood Jazz Quartet. I know one song that's I just want to live forever. I don't know the other one. Jay says they told me they drove through Irvine. We drove towards LA in the 405.
That's not where it started.
Dan says I'll never forget that night at work when my buddy Matt was like, "Hey, did you hear about OJ?" Dean says I'm heavily into elevator music. My elevator doesn't go all the way to the top, Jay.
We all know that, Dean. Proven with just about every comment.
Hey, we still love you, Dean.
I have to contact this guy again with the red Wagoneer. I was sending people to him that wanted to buy it, and he decided, oh, I'm not going to sell it. That was 2 years ago. Now it's back on the market. Remember this truck? The Alpina in Guadalajara?
No. Dean said the kids from Fame. Ford says I posted a picture on my YouTube page /post ugly Mustang coupe. Chris says I prefer one of our
Wanavaders.
and travel in any direction with those.
Wonkavaders. Chris. Wonkavaders.
Dean says just in case it wasn't obvious.
This is a nice Wagoneer. I love the seats. It's got the Alpina package, which was Mexico only. This was for sale 2 years ago. I was talking to him. I had clients on it, and then later on, it was just on my website. So people were asking, "Hey, what about this?" Then he decided he wanted to keep it. He wasn't going to sell it. Now it's for sale again. So yeah, I'm going to post it again because it's a nice truck. It really is inside and out. The inline six with the manual transmission, the Alpina package, which gives you the wagon wheels on it, and a few other things, and of course the Alpina stripe on it. I don't like that he painted the center on the rear wheel.
Ray says double worn out keyboard. Jay says big Sikorsky helicopter just flew over my house.
How do you know?
Ford says Alpina, not BMW Alpine.
No, nothing BMW about it. I should be able to get a client on that one. It's just too nice. And this is the 1980 Datsun 510, which were sold over there too, but I mean, it's not called a 510 here. They were sold over there too, but they're overlooked cars. They're one of the most dependable cars you could get. Just put the key in, turn the key, and it takes you wherever you want to go. Don't really have to do much work to them. Again, it has the two color turn signals in it. That was a Wagoneer, Ford.
Dean says it's only a what?
Or
It's only a poor workman who blames his tools. Ford says the grill is like a Wagoneer. Jay says never liked the wagon wheels.
That's what they came on. That's what came on the truck new, on that one too. So that's what it's supposed to have. I mean, would anybody in the U.S. have not have changed the wheels by now? People just don't do that in Mexico. It just stays stock.
Dean says it's the womp 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 sound. Jay can pick it up anywhere.
I think he's playing with you now
Chris,
to see what you're going to say.
Chris says the Dean guy who works in IT has a worn out keyboard. It's always the cobbler's children who go barefoot.
And the mechanic that never fixes his car.
Jay says I have Flight Radar 24. I screenshot the helicopter.
Oh, do they know you do that?
Jay says Polcardo. Ford says The 810 had the Z car engine here.
Yes, it did. And it had all the problems of the Z car engine.
Dean says, when the world goes to heck in a handbasket, IT guys will fix it.
Maybe. Or they'll just give up and go home. There was a shop in Las Vegas that specialized in the Datsun, Nissan inline six cars, the ZX, the 810, stuff like that. His shop was constantly loaded with customer cars. Constantly. So he always had his hands full. I don't know if that says anything about the cars, but I mean that's what you do. You specialize in the one thing, you become the expert, and people will come from miles around to bring you their car.
Dean says, you and me and Cloud AI. Chris says, Dean, the world's already gone to heck and it's because of IT. I can't fix it.
It's on the way. It's on the way, Chris.
Mark says, makes a spec dependable until you get a rat leak pressure test it at pressure tested at work, and your boss says that's not how you do it. Proceed to pump process and what? Proceeds to pump enough pressure that it blew out the rat.
Well, all you had to do was replace a radiator, then it'd be dependable again. You can't really blame the car for that. Did you sock your boss in the face?
You guys are talking too much tech.
Ford says, I only saw new Nissans did pinstripe and moldings. We had a guy at the lot that did that at a Chevy dealer. And we had another guy that would do wheel covers and stuff like that and dress up the cars. We had a used car manager who wasn't doing anything in the interest of the dealership. He bought from his father, who was a wholesaler, like 5 same year celebrities, 87 celebrities that were rental cars, all the same colors, all the same options, and I had to put them on the lot to sell them and make them look different so people didn't say, "Hey, why do you have 5 of the same car?" So we put wheel covers, we put pinstripes, we did what we had to do to dress them up, and they were, of course, the brown. He didn't get an interesting color; he got brown, and we sold all of them, no problem. They were gone pretty quick because people thought they were getting a deal on the same year model, but less money. So he thought he was sticking us with cars that we couldn't sell, but no, I did what I had to do to make them nice to sell them. Josh, it obviously does. Dean, don't tell me the truth. I cannot handle the truth. Lie to me. Okay, Dean, you live in Australia. Mark, 350 an hour. I couldn't afford a rad. There was no junkyards around. Dean Stevenson, that is a Datsun Stanza in New Zealand and Australia. A Datsun 510 or 1600 missing the IRS, independent rear suspension. IRS is overrated. Dean Stevenson, Zap Pow Strikes worked great by 1986. Fleet cars. Yes, exactly, Ford. When rental cars were returned or whatever, after 6 months of use, then they sell them to wholesalers, and the guy's father probably couldn't sell 5 brown celebrities. I mean, not like they were fully loaded cars or anything. They were just your basic V6 automatic. They weren't 4 cylinders, but we didn't have such a huge used car lot that you could put 5 of the exact same car and not have it look like you have 5 of the exact same car. But I did what I had to do to make them look different. Do you want this one? You want this one with pinstripes? You want this one with wheel cover? All that, and we sold all 5 of them probably in a month. So we were doing really good there. Dean says, no, that's not the lie I was expecting. I was trying to keep it clean, Dean. Chris says to Dean, okay, I'll lie to you. If it makes you feel any better, your wife and I are just friends. That would be a long distance relationship, Chris. I'd like to see how that happens. Mark, I could barely afford the gas it took me to get to work. It was an hour drive. By the time I got home, I needed an engine. Ooh, nice woody Murata wheels. Yeah, Looks good on there. Somebody on here, I think it was Steven Andrews, was asking me for an 81 Town and Country wagon. So I put this in here and he's not here. Where are you, Steve? Hide that they were rental cars. Well, not hide that we didn't hide anything. We just wanted to make them look different because if you have 5 of the exact same car on the lot, then that raises questions. We were a Chevy dealer selling current model year used cars. Obviously, the rental cars, but I don't know what the sales department did. I didn't care. That wasn't my department. I just had to make sure it didn't look like we had 5 of the same car on the lot. Dean, we had 2 in Dunedin in '92, the Woody F wagons. This is an M wagon. Dean, she treats you mean, you never go back to guys again. Why doesn't anybody ever buy a comfortable car from me? Well, I have power windows. A Mexican car with power windows. What do you know? I know this is made before 1983 because in '83 they didn't allow luxury options in cars anymore. I think that changed a little later, but you missed the good jokes.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh.
Dean says, lie to me. So Chris says, okay, I'll lie to you. If it makes you feel any better, your wife and I are just friends. and Dean erased what he said. Dean said something like, well, she'll treat you mean. You'll never go back to guys.
Patrick is here.
Hello, Patrick Sullivan.
Ford says rental have a bad rep. Too many drivers is a taboo.
Yeah, so but people bought them. People definitely bought them. We had to get rid of them. People thought they were getting a deal because they're buying the same car as the new car, just at a much lower price. So my point wasn't that we sold them. My point was that my job was I was taking care of the used car lot, making sure all the cars were in tip-top condition. You know, nobody's going to go out there with find a dead battery or anything. So I had to make sure that they were sellable.
Dan says AC pump mounted in the B sign of quality. Patrick says it's almost St. Patty's Day.
Yes, it is.
Mark says that is not fine Corinthian leather.
No, that is very comfortable cloth, which I much prefer. Can you imagine driving 1,100 kilometers down to the border in that leather in this kind of heat in Mexico and the humidity? No thanks.
Dean says only 2 more days and you can reveal your true self, Patrick.
Ooh. Oh, you're in tomorrow. Okay, never mind.
Patrick says I was expected on that day but came a week early.
So you just had a birthday? Happy birthday, Patrick.
Happy birthday. Glenn Nicholson says, what are you having for dinner tonight, Spec? And don't say chicken.
I'm probably going to have spaghetti because Mrs. Spec is not going to be here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to make something that isn't that difficult. And we're going to be on live with Buff. So I seem to always eat spaghetti when I'm watching Buff, when I'm on Buff's live.
Ford says, what does Dan mean?
Dan or Dean?
Dan.
Oh, Dan. AC pump mounted in the V.
Dan of quality.
Now, with the Fairmont you're looking at here, 311. Okay, 311. What the Fairmont you're looking at here is one of the V6s that they came out in 1983, but it has a 4-speed manual transmission. So even though it's a V6, it's probably a pretty fun car to drive.
Dean says the 2-cylinder AC was another V2 engine mounted in between the V8.
I have that on my Fury. Yeah, big old compressor.
Dan says to Ford, When the compressor is mounted in the center between and above the valve covers, as opposed to being on one side center, as opposed to being on one side, center mount wards off vibration better.
That's what my Fury has, right in the middle.
Dean says yummy. Mark says Mexican Spec. You need that thing cab drivers sit on that lets air circulate under and behind you.
When I'm delivering a car, I can't bring extra things with me because I have to come back on an airplane.
Patrick says that's nice looking on an airplane.
When we deliver a car
To the border?
to Veracruz,
Um,
we have to come back on an airplane. So I can't bring anything extra. Yeah, this does have a kind of plush interior. It's vinyl though. A plush interior, comfortable interior for a Fairmont. But the base models had the 3.8. The Fairmont Elite still had the V8 in it.
Dean says S-Rod in America, no 3.8 manual until the supercharged 3.8. In the MN12, the 1989 Ford Mexico, well ahead.
Yep.
Dan says Cadillacs and Lincolns often use center-mounted compressors. Ford says, interesting.
Now, when you say that a stick shift is a theft deterrent in the U.S., well, that would be true unless the guy stealing it is from Mexico, because that's just about everything we have. Everything we have here comes in a manual. You can go down to any dealership here and buy a little small car, 4-cylinder, 5-speed or 6-speed manual right now. Every car company sells them.
Mark says you should be able to bring it as carry-on.
Steve, didn't you ask me for an 81 town and country, a Chrysler Town and Country wagon? Isn't that what you wanted? Because one just passed. It was just shown.
You want to go back?
Wait, let's see what he says.
Paco Alfa says, los mejores autos son los manuales. Lo malo es que yo no soy bueno para manejar manual. Standard.
So you need to practice because it's very easy. After you practice for a while, it becomes muscle memory. You don't even think about it anymore.
Dan says, I learned that watching rare classic cars and automotive history. Fernando says, howdy, sorry, coming late.
And that sounds like an echo. The second one.
Kind of. These two sounds.
Yeah. So you want us to go back? We can show you. It's a very, very nice car.
Patrick says, hey Stevens, I was watching Sleeper Dude's last video. I'm late as well.
I have a hard time putting on his video because every video is an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, 2.5 hours. It's really hard for me to sit through that much time, even though I like the videos.
Ford says, it's easier to steal a manual car, no gear shift lock.
Yeah, but the guy stealing it usually doesn't know how to drive it. That's the problem. You see, they even had 4-speed manuals in Monte Carlos in Mexico. Everything was a stick shift.
So I stole a candy from you.
Actually, Ford, that's not really true. Even in my 75 Dart, I had to put it in reverse to get the key out of the ignition. So there are some locks. Go back to the 81.
You tell me which one. I don't know.
It's a ways back because now we're into 1984. Sorry, guys, we're going back to the 81 wagon. Dean says there were so little changes. Why did the F car become the M when so little was different? I don't know. Probably because the F car had got such a bad reputation. Really quickly from day one, it was a bad reputation. Well, we have two of them right here in the chat. No, that's all right. We're going back because you need my commentary on it. Yeah, this is the one. Now, I don't know the price on it. I would have to go look at that. but has 125,000 kilometers, 77,000 miles, 360 automatic, fully loaded, power windows, power air conditioning. Like Dan says, Murata wheels, but they probably came on the car from the factory.
Um, Dean says, "Do you know how many 700s there are on YouTube?" 700 says, "I will go back." Chris says, "It's like the vu all over again." Dean says, "What if I get the wrong one?" Patrick says, "All good." And Dean says, "I like the electric window lifts and the power doors." Off the campus says to Ford, "A manual needs to be in reverse to get the key out and it's locked."
On a lot of models, yes.
Fernando says, "Ooh, yes, that's it."
It's a very nice car. Weird that it's got so many options in Mexico.
Dean says, "And a 360 engine."
It moves it along pretty well.
Glenn Nicholson says, "The floor is color coordinated too."
I'm sure the wood grain could use some liquid gold to make it look brand new again. But other than that, the car really needs nothing. The interior is really nice, nice soft. Doesn't have leather. You don't want leather. Very nice.
Ford says, "Here the new generations can shift manual, true, but the ones from Mexico can."
Yes, because like we get some young drivers and Uber drivers. They're all driving manuals. Most of the Uber drivers here are manual. The Uber cars are manual because they get much better gas mileage. Although they do have to change the clutch every 300,000 kilometers or so. Oh, it's got mats in the back,
Mm-hmm.
so the kids don't dirty the carpet. Looks like this was a well taken care of car. Really was.
Sorry. Fernando says, "Well, I imagine it was a classic car and expensive there."
Yes, it was very expensive here when it was new because it had a lot of options that most of them didn't. Most of these were slant six cars with manual transmissions and no options, no air conditioning, no power anything. Probably had a radio though. Mexicans need their music. Yeah, it looks like everything works, all the lights, the courtesy lights, everything. I'd be surprised if all the windows work, to be honest, because we know it has that plastic belt that runs the window. And I cannot tell you if this is the original steering wheel or not, but it looks nice. The wood steering wheel. Probably is not. That's not a Chrysler emblem in the middle, is it? I don't think so. So that's been switched out. But other than that, see, and the speedometer there goes up to 200 kilometers per hour. So that tells you that it's an original Mexican car.
I know what you're talking about.
Sure, that's your story.
Oh, that was so good. One of those that has a
Hello,
tail,
Barry.
the tail that goes like that.
And you can tell a well cared for car by how clean the engine compartment is. Because it's not easy to clean an engine compartment like that when it's so full of everything. And another thing you need to keep in mind, Steve, is the 360 here had much more power than the 360 in the US because there was no smog equipment on it. So that helps a lot.
Sorry. Dean says Moto Lida wheel. Ford says, "Buff, never run into that. Had a Mazda 3-door, kids moved it with no key, just hit the clutch."
Well, there's a lot of the Japanese cars that didn't put the lockout in, but I think most of the American cars did. And if you drive this green Wagoneer into the forest, you may lose it because it's the same color as the trees.
Dean says, "On all the options, M code, a wagon with 360."
So what do you think, Steve? Could we find a cleaner one for you? Also, they took pictures of it inside a building with lights. That's got to tell you something about how they care for it.
Bob says camel green.
It's got an interesting color interior too to go with the green on the outside. Steve, I need you to send me an email at mexicanspecreal@gmail.com. That way I can get you the, because I'm gonna have to go find it again. Did you send it? I'm gonna have to go find it again. In what state do you live, Steve? Oh, you're in Washington, aren't you? So it would be crossed at the Arizona border. That's better for us. That's the way I prefer to do it because the vehicle is always in my hands. I don't hand it off to the Mexican custom agent, and she hands it off to the driver at the port. Then he goes and parks it at the port, and who knows what they do with it there. Then somebody else loads it onto the ship, and then they strap it down, and then over there in Florida they unload it, and more people are touching it.
Faith Van is here.
Hello, Faith. How are you today?
Chris says to Barry, good day, sir. How things in Cromwell tomorrow?
Cromwell.
Cromwell. And Dean says the comedian Patrick O'Neill.
Patrice.
Patrice O'Neill.
Yes.
Ford says that green is like my LTD hat, but lighter on the LTD.
Are you guys shocked at how many of the cars and trucks here that are 30, 40 years old are still in really, really nice original condition? Like this Fairmont here. This is the interior that came in the Fairmont when it was new. It hasn't been redone. No rust. Still a daily driver.
It says 3.8 Essex.
Yeah. I have a customer on that 2000 Ram Charger manual that I showed last week. That was the first pictures you saw, and he asked me if it's possible to put the factory running boards on it. And I'm like, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the vehicle from where it is in the middle of Mexico and I'm going to drive it to Veracruz. So I don't think we're going to be able to do that. I wouldn't be able to find the part. They'd have to be junkyard parts. Then they'd have to be painted the color of the truck and then put on. And I paid 1,800 pesos just for one piece of the front of the running board for the green one. So I don't know.
Faith says, good. I'm going back to school to be a police officer for a police department.
Good. That's good.
Josh Homan says a bit of a surprise for sure. Chris says lots of eye candy down south of the border.
Yeah. Who took care of a Chevy Citation? I mean, really.
Bob the Campus says console and good seats on that Fairmont.
Mm-hmm.
Ford says California kills more cars with smog laws than any other reason.
That's for sure. I'll tell you a little story. A friend of mine, and it's not really relevant that he was Mormon. His family was Mormon, but I think it comes into it a little bit. He had I think it was a mid-70s Toyota Corona, and there was something a little bit off with the carburetor, so it wouldn't pass smog without replacing it or whatever. So he junked the car. He junked the whole car because it wouldn't pass California smog. Car was running perfectly, no problems at all with the car. He junked the car because it wouldn't pass smog. Just absolutely ridiculous. I'll bet you the junkyard turned around and resold the whole car instead of crushing it or whatever because it was just such a nice car. There was nothing wrong with it at all. Not the paint, not the interior, not the engine, nothing.
Dean says I like the V6 engine, but they only weigh 305 pounds. 305 pounds, 165 pounds lighter than the already light 5.0 Windsor.
Yeah, and they only run for half the time. I have not had good luck with the 3.8 V6, and I know other people that have not had good luck with the 3.8 V6. So I wouldn't be anxious to get another one, but it look the Fairmont with a 4 speed looks like a fun car to drive.
Glenn Nicholson says, nothing shocks me anymore. The first one to see me in the morning in my underwear is the guy staring back at me in the mirror.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Dean says, but Mormons always have better jokes.
I didn't hear any jokes.
Ford says, engine light every time. Dean says, it's always the straight edges. Chris says, maybe cars were more than of an investment down in Mexico as people took better care of them.
They absolutely were, because there's no such thing as a cheap car here. You're not going to find, a $200 car, a $300 car. No, it's a it's an asset that they will keep for a long time, or they will sell to the next person. They're not going to come down on their price or anything. That's what I found. People don't care if they keep the cars for 2 or 3 years trying to sell it.
That says 3.8 Fords eat head gaskets.
Yes, they do, even if they're just sitting in the backyard. I already went through that with a Mercury Capri. Modern day Beaumont here with the Pontiac interior? No, no. Just has the Pontiac instruments. That's all, which are much better than the claustrophobic Monte Carlo the Chevy instruments they used in the U.S., which had the two pods on the side that had all the lights and everything. Pontiac is just flat and has a lot more information,
Ford,
a lot more gauges.
Ford says the GM engine is far better. 3800 V6 I have is fantastic.
Yep, they last a long time. It's too bad the transmissions behind them do not. I had so many bad front wheel drive transmissions buying and selling cars back then. So many. Yeah, those are the wheels that came from the factory on the 84 Monte Carlo SS. And I've had people on this car, but they took the heater and air conditioning box off the firewall. So that would have to be replaced to get the air and the heater working again, and that's going to be a big expense if you can find that part. Now this is an interesting truck because it's just a panel truck, but it's with the older rear end in Mexico, the flat tail lights from 1972, which they used on the trucks up until 80.
Don gets carry-on?
85. Yeah, I guess you could call it that, but this one was probably for a dog catcher or something like that in the way that it's configured. Something like that. But it's probably gonna have an inline six under the hood. It looks clean. Looks like they took care of it. It's nice shiny paint inside.
Ford says all front-wheel drives have the same transmission except the supercharged V6.
Yeah, and I had a lot of bad ones. At 80,000 miles, the cars that I bought at 80,000 miles needed transmissions, so I stayed away from them after a while. And then I didn't have any more transmission problems. This looks like a pretty decent truck to customize. It's got weird proportions though, the way they built it. Weird, the way it looks. But could be cleaned up. It's got the division between the front and the back. That's why I'm saying it was probably a dog catcher or something. They just had the grating up on to separate it, and then they had whatever they had back here. Inline six, which will run forever.
Dan says, why did they graft the 72 rear onto the square body bedside?
They didn't. The beds in Mexico had the old style taillights on them. They didn't go to the corner taillights, the rounder beds. They didn't go. The U.S. style bed came onto the trucks in 1989 and a half. The first half of the year they used the taillights, but it was a much flatter bed on the side and the tailgate. It was a different style tailgate. It was a completely different bed on the Mexican trucks, Dan.
Fergus says, I agree, Mr. Burlock. I also have a GM 3.8 B6. And Dan says, two full-size spares.
The more the merrier.
Fernando says, the wraparound taillights were more easily broken, so I get it.
Well, it wasn't that. It's just that Mexico didn't go to that. Like in '72, the rear bed, the Chevy truck bed, looked like it had a fender skirt because they had a really low um, rear wheel opening on it. It was interesting looking design, and then they started making them have the regular wheel opening, and then in the mid '80s, somewhere around there, '86, '87, they went to the corner lights, but it was still a different bed with a different tailgate and more flat. Like I said, it wasn't until '89 and a half that they went to the actual US style bed in Mexico. And there's reasons for that.
Dan says, but there's a seam on the Mexican bed. The US trucks have no seam.
Yep. You ever seen a Citation four door with a high output 2.8 V6 with a 4-speed manual?
Sometimes I feel like you guys are making up words.
You know all the words.
Not all the words.
Uh-huh.
No. Ford says, I have 150,000 miles plus, no issues. Just change fluid through the dipstick tube. Put synthetic ATF in.
You didn't change the filter? You got to change the filter once in a while. But most people didn't do that. Now remember, I was doing this in the '90s, so we may have been talking about ex-rental cars. We may have been talking about cars on their second or third owner that didn't care if they ever did a transmission service. So at 80,000 miles, I got a run of bad transmissions on car with 80, 82, 83,000 miles. So then I just started staying away from cars in the 80s with 80,000 something miles, and I was fine after that. Maybe it was a coincidence.
Bob says, it looks like a different dash than on the US Citation.
No, Buff, that was a 1985 model, and remember in 1985 they redesigned the dash to put the stereo horizontal instead of vertical. So it is the same dash that was in the US Citation at the same time. People got tired of the vertical stereo because they couldn't put a stereo in the car, an aftermarket stereo, unless they put it vertical and they had to turn their head to see to use it. I don't know who came up with that design, but Stephen Andrews. No, I had a Citation that same color. Wasn't that spicy, just 4-cylinder. We didn't have a 4-cylinder in Mexico for those cars. They were all V6s. The same V6 as the X11, so the high output. And this thing also is an '86 model and has the 2.8 with the 4-speed, the same drivetrain as the Citation. I've seen a few Mexican automatics, but very, very few. The majority were manuals. And again, here's another car that's going to run forever. There's nothing that can go bad. You just keep the oil changed in it and change a clutch every 20 years or so.
Bob the Campos says, that's what I remember, was the vertical stereo, just like the 63 through 67 Corvettes.
Yeah, but they changed it in 1985 when they went to the Citation 2. Of course, they didn't call it that in Mexico. It was just a Citation, but they did go to the newer dash with the newer rectangular stereo in the dash.
Ford says, nope, guy sold it to me, did at 100,000 miles. He put used engine in at 100,000 miles, 100,000. Ex GM technician sold it to me.
If he was an ex-GM technician, why did he have to put an engine in at 100,000 miles?
Glenn Nicholson says, never blew up an engine or transmission. Always do my fluid filter changes on schedule due to the fact I keep my cars for years.
That's a good plan. I really should be doing that on mine, but mine sit around more than are driven. So I can't do an oil change every 3 months because I will have, I don't know, 1,000 kilometers on the oil in 3 months. And I just put some transmission fluid in the Durango because my overdrive off light keeps coming on all by itself. And I read on the internet that sometimes that's because the level of the fluid is down. So I checked it. It needed two quarts or 2 liters. So I put it in, but it's still coming on, and it's locking it out of overdrive. We didn't have any trouble on the highway, but around town, it shuts off the overdrive by itself.
Ford says it was a salvage car, bad engine.
Oh, okay. So he bought it because he knew how to fix it. Okay, that makes sense. I don't think there were very many V6, especially in California where I was. We never saw a manual celebrity at all. It doesn't matter if it was 4 cylinder or not. But I don't remember ever seeing a V6 celebrity with a manual. There probably was in some other states, but definitely not in California because they couldn't get the transmission certified in California. Manuals were too dirty as far as they were concerned. Now they're only worried about your brakes. They're going to go from smog tests to doing safety tests, and you're going to have to put CARB approved brakes on your cars in California, which are going to cost you probably 5 times the amount of doing it yourself. So they're going to get their money one way or the other. Did the Celebrity Eurosport ever come with a manual V6? I've heard people tell me they've seen them in the US, but I don't know. I know we never saw one on the lot in California, and we sold a lot of celebrities in 87 and 88. And I mean a lot.
Dan says I saw a celebrity wagon with a 4-speed manual. Can't remember if it was a 4 or 68.
I'm pretty sure it was a 4 speed. Pretty sure. But there was a celebrity model that we never got on the lot because our new car manager never ordered one. And that was a celebrity VR that went to a conversion company, and they made a new grill, and they made it put some parts on it and stuff. We never got one of those, which was probably a good thing because it probably had a really high uh, sticker price to it. It was in the brochure for the year, but we never got one.
You can tell I'm falling asleep because I'm messing up words. Of the campuses, I have a solution to California inspections. Leave.
I also have a solution to California inspections, Buff. Send the title to you. You put license plates from Tennessee, and you send the plates back so they can drive it in California with Tennessee license plates. And when they get stopped, I borrowed the car from my buddy. And that's it.
Dan says, I think I remember the VR. Were they white?
I remember a red one in the brochure.
Ford says, have you tried Lucas Oil Transfix? Quart bottle, tall like a Jarrito soda bottle, very thick additive, overdrive problems.
I'm not going to do anything like that in my Durango. It's too important for me towing trailers. I'm not going to add a bunch of crap that I don't know what it's going to do to my transmission because it could just as easily destroy it from the inside. I'm not going to do that. We had no troubles driving to the border and back, hauling the trailer. It didn't, it wasn't like I was driving along at 100 kilometers per hour and it locked it out of overdrive. But when you're driving around town, the overdrive off light comes on all by itself, and it shouldn't do that. Here's you. Digital dash on a Cougar, and it's in drive. He's in drive, ready to go, ready to go. Here's an example of what I was telling you before. It's got the wrong tailgate on it, but in early 2000 2001, the Mexican border was open for any open bed truck to come into Mexico and be legalized because there was a lack of trucks in the country and people were complaining. So they allowed any open bed truck to come in and get license plates here where they weren't letting other cars come in. So everybody over there in the US, I mean, there were people that were bringing in trucks, hundreds of them up at a time. So we have all of these mini trucks here, the Toyotas, the Nissans, the Chevy Loves, Ford Couriers, the Isuzu. We have all of the mini trucks here in this kind of condition, just waiting to be sold, sold back to the US. Everybody says they want a mini truck. Well, they're all sitting here.
Policarpo says had a four-speed, four-cylinder Taurus station wagon, 1986.
Yeah, I remember those. They didn't sell too many of them though, but I'm sure it would last longer than the automatics. $2,500 for the transmission in the Tauruses mean most of them did not get fixed. We knew that when the cars were, fairly new, early 90s, $2,500 to rebuild a transmission in one of those. And we're like, no thanks, not going to happen. See, here's an 88 that somebody put the newer front end on it. That's a very popular thing because you can't find parts for the earlier models here. This is the parts they sell here. So people will put it on anything.
Ford says, I would do a full flush, like 20 quarts out, not recirculate synthetic at ATF only.
Well, the truck already did it itself. What was it, like 2 years ago? We drove to Nogales with a trailer on the back towing a Volkswagen Beetle. When we pulled up to the hotel, a 25-cent clip failed at the radiator and it pumped all of its transmission fluid out by itself. So in that parking lot there, I had a mobile mechanic come out and he repaired the 25-cent clip. We put the transmission fluid back in and we drove it home. And that 25-cent clip cost me 6,000 pesos that day. Luckily, I had the money, or we would still be in Nogales.
Glenn says, Love Guard makes a good transmission additive. Had an AOD transmission with a sticking solenoid. Put a bottle in and cured it. Used it every fluid change.
I'm afraid to put extra stuff in there because that I don't know what it's going to do because I don't know what the problem is. And whenever I ask John Cope on one of the lives, I don't get answers because he may not know. I don't know. I don't know if he works with those kind of transmissions. Well, that's real leather on the outsides. You can see the lines in it. I don't think leather costs here what leather cost over there. That seat looks damaged. Ooh, like that. Got to look at the details before going out to get the truck. Clean bed though. That's hard to find. Here's one of Chris's favorite cars. I would buy one of these with a 5-speed manual. I will not buy one of these with an automatic. They didn't mind, buddy. Well, by the time I got to the hotel parking lot, most of the transmission fluid was already gone. But you could still, every time we go back to the hotel, which has been many times now, I look for the line of transmission fluid because my truck marked its territory. The line goes from right in front of the lobby all the way back to the wall where I backed the truck in because it was kind of on a hill, so gravity let me back it up into that parking space. So
Ford says, when the pan empties, you have 11 quarts still in the torque converter. Stop pumping when pan is dry.
well, the truck was running. I had to drive up a hill to get to the hotel. Pulled into the parking lot. It's even a higher hill, and the transmission was pumping transmission fluid out the whole time. We were lucky to get into a position in the parking lot where I could just coast back into the space next to a wall. We were very lucky with that whole thing.
Chris says, that's such a nice car.
It is. It definitely is. It is a phantom. Hides in the shadows. You don't really know it's there. I bet it'd be fun on the highway though. A turbo with a 5-speed. Phantom 88. Guarantee.
But it says, so you mark your parking spot?
We marked the whole parking lot. I can still see the line from the in front of the lobby all the way back. And every time we go there, I look for it. It's fading over time because it's been 2 years. 2 years or 3 years?
Almost three. Dr. Gold says Corinthian leather option on the 1981 Imperial was over $3,000 and vehicle was $19,000 when other Chryslers were about 10 to 11K if I remember right.
Wow, that was a lot of money. Probably why they didn't sell very many.
Andrew says I had a change to get a LeBaron.
A chance.
I had a chance to get a LeBaron couple for free. I had dragged my feet and lost it. I like the manual.
The manual makes the car. I had one of them in Las Vegas. We were trying to sell it at a car lot. We couldn't get anybody that could fix the transmission, so it shifted right. So we just gave up.
Ford says, how much did you put in total quartz?
I don't know what the mechanic did. We went to the AutoZone and bought what the computer told us we needed, and we were able to drive back without a problem.
Believe in yourself is here.
Hello, Believe.
I believe.
And chat.
Buddy Carafano says, looks like GM square key in Phantom.
Phantom.
I
don't think so. I think it was a Chrysler key. Now you gotta love a Suburban with a manual transmission too.
Yeah, it's just coupe. Superior is correct.
Oh, okay. Oh, not couple.
Lever and coupe.
Yeah, those are called Phantoms here, Steven. So they're not confused with the LeBaron, which was the small K car. I'm not even sure they had the LeBaron here. Maybe.
Chris says it seems we have lost the Kiwi contingent.
Barry and Dean both went away. Nothing better than a square body with a manual. Ooh, it has air conditioning too. And it does say Sierra Grande on the dashboard, but that's because they took some parts from GMCs and put them on the Chevy Suburbans here in Mexico. And if you look close, it didn't say GMC, so Sierra Grande. It had the Chevy emblem there. So, yep. And over there it says vacío y lleno on the gas gauge, V and LL. So you know if you're empty or full. Weird that it has air conditioning though, being a Mexican truck.
Steven says, well, I know Chrysler used GM tilt wheel columns. Our 86 Dodge pickup has one.
That means it works. This was the bottom of the line truck for the year. Still looks good, but it has the inline six and the manual. And I don't know if you know this, but the OBS trucks here, which started in 92 all the way up to 98, did not come with a V6 in the low line trucks. They were a 292 inline six in those trucks. And I didn't even know one could fit in there because when I was working at the Chevy dealer, they came on the lot in March of 88. They were all V6s, the low line trucks. I came to Mexico, saw one at a mechanic shop, and I said, what's that in there? And that's the inline six. Why is that in there? That's the engine it came with. I couldn't believe that Mexico kept using the same inline six in the OBS trucks up to 98.
Boy Carfano says they made LeBaron into fake Maserati here.
Yeah, that was called the Chrysler TC.
Believe says I would have been here in the beginning, but I fell into Instagram hole.
Yeah, that's happened. You fall into TikTok holes all the time.
Yeah. Barcuda's still here. So I'm still here, you bastard. Still not quitting, Papa. Dean Stevenson says Saginaw tilt wheel used the name MC, small parts, and later model Lamborghini Espadas, I think.
I have one sitting out here for my AMC Spirit. I need to find one.
So the Kiwi contingent is still here.
Yeah.
For rules says ask an auto trans guy in Mexico how much fluid is a full flush on that trans Uncle Tony could say off the top of his head.
I don't trust any automatic transmission guys here because I haven't found one that could rebuild the transmission worth a crap. I've had them rebuilt, and not one of them, and I mean not one of them, worked correctly. So I don't trust anybody here.
Yeah.
But when I check the fluid, it's now full, so I'm going with that. I do have to put it in neutral. I started up, put it in neutral, so I could get enough fluid going, so I could get the truck moving. That's just the way it is. It's not a high mile truck or anything. It's not worn out. But
Mosquito bite.
I'm scratching.
That's why I'm stopping you. Yeah, me too. Getting late for me. It's 4 o'clock.
So we may have to end it early. What time do you have to leave? Mrs. Spec has to go out and see her friends tonight.
Around 5.
Okay, then we should end it so you could get in the shower.
Ford says trucks here put Cadillacs front ends on Chevy trucks.
I have definitely seen that.
I mean, you can stay here while I go in the shower.
No, because I have to go in there first.
Ford says stepping out tonight.
Yeah, she gets to go out. I get to sit home and make my food.
I have my book club tonight. So we're gonna talk about books, have some coffee and some snacks.
Well, we'll show the same pictures tomorrow night. So if you want to come back, we'll do the full time tomorrow. We'll be live in about 3 hours, 9 o'clock Central Time. 3 hours.
It's 4 o'clock right now. So it's 7.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, we got to end it. We'll see you guys maybe tomorrow or maybe next week. It was a Dodge Durango Ford. Mine is a 2000 Dodge Durango 5.9 with an automatic. So we'll see you guys soon. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for joining us.
Bye.
Bye bye.